I spent 2 years at Binghamton University. I rapidly acquired a large group of friends there, and we'd go out every weekend, one weekend in October on a Friday night. When my group didn't have any huge plans, 2 of my closest friends and I opted to hang out at the school's nature preserve beside the lake. Because it was so far away from the school or campus security, there was this little space on the other side of the lake that was ideal for burning. Kids would sometimes, but not often, come here to smoke, drink, and do pretty much everything else. We appreciated the fact that it was a relatively undiscovered area on campus. Tonight, we just brought a bunch of beers, lit a fire, and hung out, having what we called a brochette at the time. As the night progressed, time seemed to fly by as the alcohol began to take effect until one of my 2 friends was on the floor rolling in the leaves. That was when my other friend stopped laughing and went. We all perked up and listened and heard the crunching of leaves and branches. I was somewhat inebriated, so my paranoia was heightened. That was most likely the case for all of us. The fire made us visible to anybody going through the woods, but this location was so remote and remote from school that it was uncommon to see anyone else that far into the woods. It sounded like there was just one person in the distance. Applause. The sound of a tree branch snapping not too far away startled all of us because none of us were the confrontational ones in our group. So we lacked that one person who would have the confidence to stand up and yell out to whoever was out there. Instead, we all sat in silence, shushing each other. We heard what seemed to be somebody or something circling us, or at least walking around in a C shape around our little campsite. It literally started to feel like one of my 2 pals rushed off sprinting, while the other and I sat behind each other, partly laughing and half worried. We weren't sure whether this was a joke or not, in my opinion. My companion then screamed in agony after being hit in the face by another tree limb. I grabbed the bag, assisted my buddy up off the floor, and we carried him back to our room. We paused to regain our breath when we got to the road that separated the nature preserve from our dorm, but whoever was out there was following us. When we heard footsteps closer to the road, we ran back to the hostel, and when we arrived on our level, we discovered our other buddy already in his room. We stared down into the woods from his chamber window. Someone was pacing back and forth near the trees, and whenever a vehicle passed, they would walk back into the woods. Whoever it was eventually vanished into the woods, never to be seen again. We resumed our drinking session in the dorm room, and within 10 minutes, we were all laughing. We didn't know how terrible that event had been until the following morning. We never returned to the woods after nightfall.